day 29 of the Canada Post strike, and the federal government is stepping in. Today, the country's Labour Minister asked Canada's Industrial Relations Board to intervene and determine whether or not Canada Post and the Canadian Union of Postal Workers is truly stuck. Roger Collins joins us now with the details from downtown Waterdown at the post office. Roger, what can you tell us?
Matt, if the Industrial Relations Board rules that negotiations between the two truly aren't going anywhere, it means those workers could be back on the job as soon as next week under their current collective agreement, while ongoing negotiations continue to drag on.
I'm extremely disappointed. I'm choosing my words carefully. I'm extremely disappointed that the minister has decided to interfere in Labour in this way, because it's exactly what Canada Post wanted them to do.
For nearly a month, postal workers have been on strike, pushing for better wages, improved working conditions, and workplace safety. But today, Ottawa has decided to intervene.
But both parties need to be at the table and be prepared to negotiate. It's with this in mind that I am intervening today, to make sure both parties have a solid foundation to resume negotiations and reach a mutual agreement as quickly as possible.
It's a move the Canadian Union of Postal Workers national president has called an abuse of power, a sentiment felt on the local level here in Hamilton too.
Canada Post never comes to the table negotiating with postal workers under the actual auspices of negotiating. They come under the guise that they think the government is going to intervene and bail them out every time, and that's just disgraceful.
The Canada Industrial Relations Board is an independent government agency that investigates labor relations and disputes. And if it finds that Canada Post and the union representing its workers are truly at an impasse, Canada's mail carriers could be back on the job as soon as next week.
It's a signal or an indicator that the parties have been unable to reach a settlement, which we all know, but probably that the mediators in this dispute have indicated that there is very little probability that the parties will reach a negotiated settlement.
But much of the damage has already been done, with small businesses across Canada losing an estimated $100 million for each day that the strike goes on.
I mean, you have to look at this in a historical context. This is a lot different than, let's say, 20, 30 years ago, when most people relied on the mail. With the exception of certain parties, certainly small business, people who want to send Christmas cards and things of that nature. But for most people, people have moved on from the mail system as sort of a core component of their lives.
The Industrial Relations Board will have until May 22nd of next year to file its report on why the two parties are having such a hard time coming to a negotiated agreement. And as for Canada Post itself, the Crown Corporation says it looks forward to welcoming back its employees, and it adds that it plans to work with the union to come to a new deal.